Megan Hicks of I Run Far. I'm with Ailsa MacDonald. It's the day after the 2022 Western States Endurance Run. You took second place.
I did, yes, surprisingly.
Surprisingly. Why do you say that?
My goal really for yesterday was just to execute a smarter race than I did in 2018, and I know this is like a very highly competitive field. Kind of hope for a top 10, but to come in, make my way up to the second place was pretty amazing.
Well, I'd love to compare your previous run and this one, as well as talking about yesterday. But since this is I Run Far's first interview with you, I'd also love to know a little bit about you. Like, what do you do outside of running, and how'd you come to running 100-mile distances on trails in the mountains?
It was definitely a slow transition.
Okay.
I've always been very athletic throughout my entire youth, and I was originally a triathlete, and so I dabbled in short distance triathlon, and then I took more of a running approach for several years and kind of focused on the marathon, and then from there I got back into triathlon and did some half Ironmans, and that progressed to the Ironman, and then that's kind of where I discovered my talent for endurance events. So from there, I started to dabble in the trail running, and then the distances just kept getting longer and longer, and I found that the longer I went, the better I was doing. So here I am.
Here you are at 100 miles.
100 miles, yep.
So you made running Western States your goal, was it 4 years ago now?
Yeah,
okay.
2018.
And you came here, you finished, but it was a challenge.
It was a challenge. I was coming off a really big breakthrough race at Black Canyon 100K that year. That's where I got my golden ticket. And I might have come in a little bit overconfident, and not knowing the challenges of this course, I definitely didn't pace myself right. I think I was like second to the top of the escarpment that year, which is
let her rip.
yeah, not a smart move. So I obviously fell apart really bad after that and suffered to the finish line. But I finished, and I was proud of my finish. And I know my husband and my crew were like, "We think you can do it better. We'd really love for you to go back and try it again." So that's what brought me here the second time. So
was the impetus of your family and not your sort of own internal driving?
Totally, yeah.
I love that.
I mean, I was really proud of my finish in 2018 because it was a hard fight to the finish. Excuse me. Probably my hardest fight yet, but there was no quit in me that day. I just kept moving forward at a very, very slow pace, and eventually made it. And but yeah, they thought, yeah, you can probably do a better time on this course. So
here we are again.
Here we are again.
How did you sort of strategize and lay out how you hoped yesterday would go, given that you had the experience that you did? Was it just a matter of starting out a lot more conservatively, or was there other more strategical things?
Definitely starting out conservatively was my main goal, but not to get caught up in the competition either. Everybody goes out quite hot in this race, and I've known, like, ever since my 2018 experience at Western States, I've always, like, it was a valuable lesson learned for me, and I have always taken the conservative strategy ever since then, and it's always paid off. So I knew that if I could just hold back and not worry about anybody else's race, just worry about my own, that I would end up doing okay. So
in terms of how the race played out yesterday, can you talk about, let's maybe break the race up into thirds. How did the high country go, the climb up to the escarpment? You weren't in first.
I was actually quite proud of the fact that I wasn't in first at the escarpment. No, it was good. It was a way more enjoyable experience than it was in 2018, because I actually got to take in some of the scenery. Like, when you're not suffering, it's so much more enjoyable. And not that I wasn't suffering, I definitely was, but not to the extent I was in 2018.
In a different way, a tolerable level.
Totally different way. Cool. And, I was able to just take in the scenery. And, in 2018, when I was falling apart and I was coming into the aid station, so it was really overwhelming. So you never really got to absorb the energy. You were more kind of like, just let me go. Yeah. And it was such a game changer yesterday. Just coming into those aid stations, and all the volunteers are so helpful, and they're just looking after your needs. And I was just, like, really appreciative of them. And I realized what a incredible race this is, and the community that takes to put it on. And it was just a way better experience in whole.
I listened to somebody say yesterday about how, like, this race in particular, I mean, all ultra marathons just seem to have good aid stations, but this one in particular, like, yeah, there's a physical benefit, obviously, but this race offers a psychological benefit with its aid stations being so robust.
Oh, it does. I was looking forward to them. Like they were
People in the woods.
yeah. They were a real spirit lifter. Just the
Aw.
energy and the encouragement that you got going through those aid stations was just a huge boost.
Was there a point yesterday during the race where you did allow yourself to start thinking about competition and your position and thinking about who's in front or back, or were you inside your own head and your own game?
I try to stay in my own game. When I made my way into third place, I got pretty excited because that meant a ticket to UTMB, which is what I'm striving for.
Okay.
And coming into this race, I was like, top 3 at Western States is a pretty ambitious goal. I just don't think that's a realistic goal for me at my age and with the competition. And so when I made my way to third, I was like, wow, if I can hold on to this is going to be like a dream come true. So I just kept trucking along at my comfortable pace. And then I ended up catching up to second place. And that was just, holy cow, like this is a surreal position to be in.
And it was third place after the river? Is that when you went into third, or exactly where did that, do you remember?
I can't remember if it was before the river or after.
In that vicinity, like 20 miles to go?
I think so, yeah.
And then was it around like mile 85 that you moved into second place?
I believe so, yeah, somewhere around there.
Did you have reports on like where first place was, or the gaps to people behind you?
One person said to me along the course that there was a 22-minute lead between myself and first place, but I never actually liked to know.
Okay.
My husband makes it. Yeah, I find that if I do know, then maybe I'll get a little bit more competitive and I'll push the pace too much and then blow up. So my husband always makes a point of never telling me where I am in the pack.
I love it.
And that's kind of our agreement. Like,
I love it.
Unless it comes down to the wire,
then he's instructed that if it's very close,
then
tell you to run
there's
for it.
like and it's like the end of the race, then I'll pick up the pace.
Got
but when you have 20 miles left to go, that's a lot of race.
Yeah.
So, and I said to my husband yesterday, like part of my strategy was I was going to warm up for 90 miles and then race the last 10.
It. Did that happen?
Yep, I think so. I mean, I think I moved pretty good in the last 10 miles, considering it was a 100-mile race. I was really happy with the way I felt and the way I was able to kind of just keep moving at the pace I was moving at.
Honestly, you looked like you were finishing, I don't know, like a Sunday long run when you crossed the finish line. Did it feel like that? Did you?
No.
That's funny, Megan.
No, not at all.
You look so light-footed.
No, I wanted to sprint around the track. I always like to finish fast, and sometimes you just want to get it over with, but there's a lot of energy on the track too, so you just kind of want to soak it all in, and at the same time, like, I just want to be done so I can take my shoes off. So that's a big driver too.
I love it. You have run at the UTMB festival. I think you've run the CCC before, but now, is that right? CCC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you have the ticket to UTMB. Is that where we're going to see you next year?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do UTMB. I actually DNF'd at UTMB this past year.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. So I want to go back and get redemption there. That's my plan.
You also have this thing called the F2 bib after this race. Is that meaning anything to you on this Sunday morning?
No, not with UTMB on the plate for next year, because I think that was part of the reason why I ended up DNFing last year was I tried to do 200 milers back to back, and that's tough.
I understand. Congratulations on your second place finish.
Thank you.
And it'll be really fun to see what you do at UTMB next year.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks.
Thank you for that.